everybody. This is Greg, or as you may know me as Moondog Murray, Maurice, the Dog-Faced Bastard, Greg Murray. All the different names already in these 4 years of wrestling. We are actually in 2025, and I finished 2024 pretty strong. I think my overall thoughts on the year is it was a grind year. As we'll get into tonight with my matches here. The only handful of big moments the last year, I was actually telling a friend about it. The TNA extra gig, of course, being on TV, that was really cool. And being in that segment, PCO and Steph DeLander. It was funny after that, Effie, the next time I saw Effie, he was asking me about it. He goes, he was just asking me about it, and I was just telling him. He was just laughing. He goes, "Yeah, that sounds about right." But it was a great opportunity. Maurice discovering the character. The character is pretty much like old school Boss Man or Diesel bodyguard gimmick. But as I am taking the time, and by time I mean literally time, like just putting time into it and letting it breathe. So far, just trying to expand on him a little more. It's just a case of like time's gonna tell, and I was explaining to somebody who was kind of like, about. I think the look of the gimmick is what it was, and I was trying to explain like, listen, he's not gonna be flashy this first year. He's gonna be tall, dark, and handsome. I guess I don't know, and then eventually he'll grow. He'll wear flashy stuff by that point, but for now, I want to nurture this and see where it goes. And lately, it's cool to be that heel who can look into the crowd at somebody making mock or razzing you, excuse me, and you just give them a look and they stop. I've gotten that about 2-3 times now, which I was like, okay, we got to look here. So good. I'm glad we at least have this look. So it just future will tell how well it goes. I still have commitments as Moondog for next year. I think it's going to be a case of eventually Maurice that'll be it. There's no Moondog. But again, as we'll get into earlier, I think I'm still running as DFB for a little while in these notes. But that's going to be an example as to why I'm taking the approach I'm taking with Maurice. But anyway, so I am currently, as of this recording, let me flip through this quick. Pretty much, I'm pretty late on this podcast. 271 matches in, as of this recording. So yes, I've been busy, and I've been procrastinating. I was supposed to make this as soon as I reached 200, and I didn't. So I'm looking back, I'm like, oh my god, we got 2022. I got to remember that far back. That's why I want to get these out instantly, because fresh thoughts. So we turn the clock all the way back to October 21st, 2022, when I reached my 100th match. It was for Chicago Style Wrestling, which at the time was my home promotion. And it was pretty cool to have it with CSW. It was me, Sierra, Marco Anthony, Trent Hammer, Joey Mayberry, Mario Pardua. From what I remember, the match was fun. I remember me and Joey were working together in that match, and we were kind of planting seeds there for any potential tag, whether it be with CSW or somebody else. So we were showing that we could work together, which is cool. That was pretty cool to do. And then I went to Michigan for UWE to pay off my feud with Trog and a bone on a pole. One of my earliest my earliest heel work, which I don't even want to go back and watch it now, because I'm sure it's not as good as it is now. It's a lot better now, thank God. Pretty much, it was a bone on a pole. Pretty much, I remember it was pretty easy. There was an idea to gig from Trog. Thankfully, I asked, and Eric was like, "No." Eric Freedom, the promoter, he's like, "No, you guys don't got to do that." I'm like, yeah, I didn't think so. Which I'm glad, because the first time I gigged, we'll talk about that soon. It's the match I never stopped talking about. It's been a year now. Almost 2. Went back to Rockford to continue my feud with Kazile, which leads to that match I'm teasing. Then there's a Royal after. Oh my god, if this is the same Royal. So there's a rib we do where we'll pretty much one guy in the Royal's targeted. And the cue is someone yelling Idaho. So we're all in the ring, and the target was Trevor Blanchard. And but Trevor, I think Trevor was told the target was Austin Spicoli. So I'm in the corner. Trevor is to my left, and I'm ready. I'm getting ready for this Idaho. And then all out of nowhere, the bell rings, and Trevor turns to me and starts lighting me up in the corner. And I'm like, and then as he's doing that, I look over, and Idaho is yelled. And I'm like, I'm still in this corner. I'm still in the corner. And as Sea of Humanity rushes the corner, I had to drop down to the bottom and roll out from underneath the rope. It wasn't eliminated. It was a Royal. You got to go over the top. So I just rolled out. My sister has footage of it laughing. So she was. So obviously people noticed, like, wait a minute, look at him. I didn't know what to do. I was trapped. And I didn't want to get pummeled. And we get to the back, and Trevor Blanchard goes, "You guys think you're so funny, huh? You assholes." Trevor's a trip, I swear. That was my first Wrestle Rage right after that, where, funny enough, I team with Trog. We become the Bone Daddies. That's our first time as the Bone Daddies, and we feud with Bruiser Mass Index, Jamie Race, and Mike Idol, who I love wrestling them. Love it! I could wrestle them all day, and we would have so much fun, because they're just so good, so fun, so easy. And I remember that entrance. I had the shakes. I was excited. Like, yeah. You know, I was energized. I got up on, it was at Lombard, at the Brower House. I climb up on the, what do you call it? The bar. One of the bars. And I'm just kind of like, you know, just getting the crowd into it. And apparently in the back, people were watching me do this, and they're like, he is like one wrong move away from falling onto a group of people below him, because it was like one of those like really high bars. But yeah, that was the start of our feud with Bruiser Mass Index. There was a Zebra Kid Memorial Battle Royal, which every time Zebra Kid gets brought up, I always hear good things. So you sound like a really good dude. I wish I could have met him. Oh my God! So POW had a Saturday night's fight at T-Wood. You know, they do it like bi-monthly. So I get booked for the show, and I pull up, and Jimmy sees me, and he goes, "Did I book you for the show?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh shit." He's like, he goes, "I mean, we got a Royal. I'll pay you your rate still." I'm like, "Okay," but I'm like, "Man, that sucks." He's paying me for a Royal, and I'm like, I looked over, and I was like, "Can I do commentary?" He kind of like, "Yeah, go ahead." I did commentary, and it was fun. We had a blast. It was my first time commentating a wrestling show. There's footage floating around somewhere. I think Nick Hedford might have it. So, after we were done, after the show, the guys I was with, they were impressed. They're like, "That's your first time commentating a show?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, You got it." I was like, it didn't even feel like that. It felt like you've done this before. And I think what helps is the Twitch channel and streaming on Twitch, commentating over silly shit like I do. So that was a really cool experience. I have not done it since. I would like to do it again. In fact, an idea popped in my head for something down the road, but that's down the road, and we don't even know if that'll happen. That tease might not go anywhere. I'm sorry. Lucha Libre Total. Yes, it was. This is a huge kick my own ass hindsight match. It was myself and Mateo Valentine versus Shelly the Bombshell and Joey Mayberry. And why I kicked myself? Because I thought this would be a feud, or this would be an ongoing thing. So we did the story of I was afraid to wrestle a girl. You know, simple story. but we barely touched. We didn't do anything. And I remember even Vic Capri was there, and I think that's when Shelly started training with him. Vic was even like, I'm disappointed you guys didn't wrestle. Like, we just tell a story. He goes, well, I understand, but I still wanted to see you two wrestle. So I love Vic. Vic's always honest. He goes, well, I understand, but I still wanted to see you two wrestle. You know? And we have not been able to wrestle ever since, and it upsets me. It really does. That was our one chance to wrestle. And, like, Shelly went, poo! And I'm getting up there ever so slowly. But Shelly just rocket launched. And which I'm so happy for her. She's gotten to do such cool shit. She got to tag with Mickie James, which when she texted me that, I was floored. I'm like, no fucking way. That's awesome. And 4 years in, I'm glad I still have that attitude where someone like posts something like something went viral and I know the guy, or like somebody got on TV, or they got to be in a squash match. I'm always like, yeah. When Heather Reckless got signed to TNA, I was like, no way. Literally, I was out loud, no fucking way. Yes, this is actually my favorite weekend in wrestling. Still, to this day. It was 4-show weekend, which I was nervous as shit for that. Nowadays, I'm like, let's do it. If I could. I don't think I've done it since, or I've had the chance anyway. I definitely would still do it. So, it was me and Joey Mayberry the entire weekend. So, CSW was me, Joey Mayberry, and Doom. The next day, it was me, Joey Mayberry, and Shalance Royale. And then I think we did a Royal, so we were all together in there. Then the next day, we wrestled each other, singles, and then we drove up the road an hour, and we wrestled in a tag match against each other. So we wrestled all 4 days. It was so cool. The CSW one, that three-way, I remember that three-way was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. That was a pretty fun match. The Proving Grounds one, it was one of Axel Riekel's Proving Grounds, or Maximum Power. They do these convention shows where guys dress up and cosplay and wrestle, which is cool. I was a Stormtrooper. Joey was Ursula. Shalance was Beyonce. So it was funny because like the crowd was not a wrestling crowd. It was a bunch of anime fans. So I remember Joey slamming me for a body slam as Ursula, and the whole crowd just erupting. There's good 300 people. It was a big hall. 300, 400 people, So like the whole just got body slammed. I'm in the moment being like, they're freaking out over a body slam, and then Shalance was beating the shit out of me. They were going higher and higher and higher. Then all I had to do was yeah, and boo, the boos rained down. It was great, fun match. And then it was AHW All Heel Wrestling. It was me and Joey. Winner faces Mateo, and I think it was March of next year. So I won. And then we drove together an hour away. I teamed with Freya the Slaya to take on Mayberry and Shalance. And it was a fun match. I think I got lost at one point. I think I got lost at one point. I'm like, and then Joey got me back on track. Boom, okay, we're back. Because, like, that was one of those matches we were calling it, all of a sudden our music hit. We're like, oh, shit. Afterwards, Freya gave me a big choke slam, which was cool. Freya, I think she's taller than me. But yeah, she goes, can I choke slam you? Like, fuck yeah. Like, yeah, you can choke slam me. It was like, I don't give a shit, let's go. And then there was the old hot dog and handshake royal from JWA. Northland was debuting a Journey Championship, and they had me, Mayberry, Stallion, and Doom. I think I did a count not too long ago how many guys I wrestled the most. But I think Joey Mayberry is still the guy I wrestled the most. I think I wrestled him like 15 times, according to my book. And that's not including Royals. And God knows what else. So yeah, it was a 4-way for the title. Joey won it. And Joey became the inaugural Journey Championship. And I want to say that was my last Northland for a while because I got booked with POW for 23. And they ran the same nights as POW. I wrestled Mateo at LLT, the next show. Fun match. That was a lot of fun. I look back on that one fondly because like I got to. It was face, but I got to be in a I kind of worked somewhat heelish and it felt good. It was great. Then we drove up to the Wexford Civic Center in Cadillac, Michigan. December 17th. A blizzard hit as we're driving up there. And I remember during this blizzard, as we're driving 20 miles an hour, Joey Mayberry sends either a video or a picture of him, I think in an Uber, and he's in shorts, and you just see this big sunshine in the background, and we're just like, what the shit? Because he was booked down in Florida to wrestle. Me and Terry are like, what have we done? How do we deserve this? God, that was brutal. Because like from Rockford, it's 5.5 hours, so you add a snowstorm, you're going to add another hour and a half to that trip. It's brutal. I hate it. It is bad. But we ended up there, and I won against Mateo and Nick Green in a 3-way to take on Jamie in February. So, fun story about that, too. First match, 23, was a Royal. Of course it was. And then after that, it was me and Trog versus BMI again. I'm trying to think, like, all those matches were fun. Like, literally, I can't pick one that was better than the other. Like, they were a lot of fun. I genuinely enjoyed those. There's a scramble of CSW. So, one of the participants came by. Well, he was the last one to show up. So, two of the guys in the scramble, who are pretty much the vets of the group, are coming up with ideas. And they're fun. They're just kind of jaw-jacking bullshitting. And I remember, I was like, okay, this is, like, we're cooking. Then this guy pulled up, who also had the same amount of experience, I believe. And he just kind of derailed all the ideas. And I remember the scramble being fine. I remember, it was fine, but I could tell, one of the guys who was coming up with the ideas that the balloon kind of deflated, he just kind of walks away. Then he just comes back, and I could tell he was, like, took out of it. So, yeah. Another Bone Daddy's BMI match. So, February 11th, 2023. That was up in UWE, Cadillac, Michigan. I'm challenging Jamie Race. My birthday was the 9th, and we had a party at Shelly's house the 10th, which I have footage of, which is, thank God, because that was a fun birthday. That was like probably my last great birthday, which was 2 years ago. So, this was when I was drinking. I'm actually, as of this recording, just almost 2 months sober. Let's see, what's the date? In a few days, I'll be 2 months sober. So I drank heavily the night before. So, of course, I was really hungover. And now I have to drive all the way to Cadillac, Michigan. And then I pull up, I'm fucking dying, and I go up to Jamie, and Jamie goes, hey, man, and then we had a match put together in like 2 minutes. And I was like, okay, awesome. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And then I sat. I think I found it's the Wexford. So like there's like 3 locker rooms, I think. And I went into one of the locker rooms. I was by myself, so I just kind of sat there like, just kind of like decompressed, drank some water, got some food in me. Just finally got like, and then by main event it was fun, pretty good match. That would be my last one for a while though with UWE. Not a bad match to end on. CSW, this was around the time... this was around the time I started that feud with Chris Miller, CSW. Because, I don't know, I think the feud was just, we didn't like each other. We're just big both guys, and we both drank, and we just wanted to see who was better. And it was fun. We were in scramble matches. We'd have like run-ins with each other. Yeah, this was Bob's was defending the Metro title. It was me, Miller, Cody, James, and Mayberry. And Bob's retained, of course, but like I think me and Miller ran off or something. I don't remember. But I know me and Miller, we were pretty much continuing the feud. I flipped it the wrong side. Didn't turn the page. Oh, here we go. So, February 18th, 2023, Rockford, Illinois, Damage Inc., St. Valentine's Day Massacre, a Rockford street fight. So at the end of my last match with Kazile in Rockford, Scott Spade did a run-in and gave us both pile drivers, cut a promo, and then the plan was if there was a December show, I'd work Spade, and then February, the big blow-off would be me, Spade, and Kazile. So they inserted Spade into the feud, which was fine by me, because anytime I work Spade, I always feel like I'm learning something. So, this was the match. I'm like, you know what? If there's a time to get color, it'd be this. So I hit up Jimmy Blaze, who was booking at the time. I asked. He goes, yeah, sure. Just don't go crazy. Gotcha. So we were positioned right before intermission. I don't know why. I think there was I want to say Latimer and James Storm in the main event, if I'm remembering right. But still, they had us the match before intermission, and then we got 8 to 10 minutes. I think we went way past that because of the situation at hand. So, if there was a day to gig, this would be it. You know, it's blow off to me and Kyle, and then Spade, and then it's a Rockford street fight. Why not? Oh, I gigged all right. I drank a beer with 3 aspirin, and it worked. It's pretty much, it helps thin the blood. And then I didn't eat anything. That wasn't intentional though. I just didn't eat anything. And I just forgot to eat. That was around the time I was like, my eating schedule was all kind of messed up. Anyway, so I didn't eat anything. And I just remember doing it. And the way I was doing it, I was like digging into my skin, which is not how you do it. And all I see is splash, splash, splash. I'm like, oh shit. Oh my. And immediately you could feel the room just go into a hush. And just, it was the damnedest thing anybody in that place saw. It was bad. I was bleeding everywhere. I was gushing. Like, the white canvas was ruined. The white turnbuckle pads were ruined. Everything was ruined. And it was weird because, like, the ref was on me, Chris Hedford. And he goes, "Are you good? Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. You know? Like, I'm fine." And then after a while, I felt bad because I'm like, oh, he must just be worried or something. I didn't know how dire it was, to be honest. I knew it was a lot. I knew it was like, oh my God, holy shit, we just got to survive at this point. But, you know, watching back that match a couple times and thinking back and then hearing people later tell stories, I'm like, oh my God. You know? And that's all Hedford. If it wasn't for Hedford, I probably would have passed out. Because, like, Hedford was on it. He rubber gloves, put pressure on it. He said, and, like, there was points it was just literally spurting. It was bad. And I remember, like, something got in my mouth, so I did the Triple H with the blood. And I remember, you know, the crowd that was into it, they were into it. And I remember leveling Kazile with chairs just for a hope spot. Boom! Boom! But he thought I was pissed. I was like, no, that's just how I swing chairs. I fucking swing. Boom! And he goes, oh, okay. But yeah, and I was like, no, I was just in the moment. I was like, this is like, I'm like defying everything. How is he still going? And I remember someone screaming, someone call a fucking doctor. This is fucking bullshit. Like an old lady. They're like, what the fuck? So, Kazile gets the win. And Spade got color, a little bit of color, but definitely not that bad. I remember Spade introduced like a barbed wire board, a bed of nails, and he took them both. If this was now, I probably would have said, let me take the barbed wire thing for the finish. Because we ended up just doing a door. There was so much blood on the ropes. Kyle slipped trying to go for a fucking elbow. Kyle just ended up going back up, trying it again, hitting it that time. 1, 2, 3. His music blared. I remember when he slipped, though. I was laying on the door. I'm like, oh my God, he slipped. I was laughing. I'm like, oh, I'm pouring out blood. I'm just laughing. I'm like, he fucking slipped. Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was so, because of how calm I was and how, like, relax, breathe, take a minute. I wasn't worried about what was next. I wasn't stressing. I just knew, okay, what's next? Okay, after they hit that, that's when I come in. Perfect. It was weird. It was like an out-of-body experience. Like, I was like, everything was in slow-mo, almost. But I remember that Jimmy Blaze with a whole roll of bounty and like a stack of napkins coming over. And I just remember as I'm getting up, the applause. Get to the back, there was like applause and people going, holy shit. And then it got around. Everybody was talking about it. And when I did extra work with NWA, when they had some tapings, Garrison Creed was there. And he goes, so what happened in Rockford? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, oh, well, you know, the street fight. He goes, because Latimer was on the show, and Latimer went to the next NWA tape. He goes, oh my God, this fucking kid, you know. That's what Garrison was telling me. I'm like, oh my God. So then I go up to Latimer. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Don't worry, I won't bleed on you. And he goes, oh Mike, I don't understand. Why'd they put you on before intermission? What the fuck? You know, he's just going into it, and he's going on a rant. I was learning though, because he was right. He goes, why would they put it on before intermission? Because like intermission went from what was supposed to be like 10-15 to fucking 30, because they had to change out the mat and everything, because again it was that bloody, and it was rough. I remember I was waiting by merch. Nobody would come near me at a lot of distance. Her Hornswoggle yelled at me because I was too close to his shit. He goes, hey buddy, you want to move away from the table? You're bleeding. I'm like, oh, sorry. And yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the webcam here. The light's too bright. Maybe. It's like, it was crazy. So like another thing was, I had it here when I was going for it, and when the dude stopped, Kyle had the fork here. I was doing it. I was right here, and when Kyle pulled the fork back, I did this. If you noticed, anybody watching the video version, I gave that cut a tail. So now I made the cut even wider, even longer. It's not good. So what does one do after a match like that? He wrestles the next day in Berwyn for LLT. It was me and Mateo versus Anthony Catino and De Niro. De Niro's a cool guy. Cantino's a cool guy. I just said, guys, if I start bleeding, we gotta stop the match. The match was fine. It was what it was. JWA, though, I went back and had a really good three-way with Adam Stallion and Eric Schultz. Anytime I wrestle Adam, I'm fucking... It's a good match. It's ridiculous. Like, he's so good. I think he's just so awesome. But I remember we did the Shane Douglas, Terry Funk, Sabu spot with the three sleepers. And it was so fun. I haven't seen that match. I would love to watch that match back. If JW is listening and putting out footage, put that one out. I debuted in Milwaukee for Fourth Wall Wrestling, and I learned a valuable lesson. So I walked into Chicago doing my shtick. Everybody get into it. Yay. I did that. Milwaukee, crickets. Oh shit. Oh no. That's not good. I tried my little, like, hold on. Nothing. They just looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, oh fuck. And CJ was getting cheered. So like, wow, wow. Yeah, I still think about that a lot. I still got to run that match back with CJ because I know we could have a way better one. But I remember that moment. I was like, that match was rough. And it was just, I remember chemistry wasn't there. I think if anything, that's what fucked me. I think that's what happened. I got so fucked up that the chemistry was fucked up. So, because I've never experienced that before, and now, thankfully I have now, because now I can know, I was like, change it, flip it, because it's not working. But that moment, that was a lesson. I was like, wow, you got to be able to switch. And I was feeling bad, and CJ like, nah, bro, it's good. CJ, chillest dude in the room, CJ Cole. Like, I dig CJ a lot. March 4th, POW, Bone Daddy's BMI, the big blow-off. We get the win. BMI, they were supposed to do some kind of a breakup, and it just didn't happen. They didn't come back for, like, a good year. And then I think they're back now, and I think they're teaming. So, oh well. What could have been, right? I got to wrestle up in Wysiona, Wisconsin. Brand new upstart promotion. I'm trying to remember. Did Red book me, or did I hit Red up? No. Anyway, I'm sure Red knows. So anyway, I get booked up there. It's me and Mateo Valentine versus Joey Mayberry and Robbie Rebel. You know, me, Joey, Mateo. You know, we work together. So, ta-da! It's magic. There's the match right there. Robbie Rebel was added in. So, I actually didn't think so. NRW being the upstart, I didn't know. There's a lot of upstart promotions. You wrestle a lot of promotions. You don't know what's going to take you where, and I was actually surprised. So, recent events, NRW closed. I want to say back in June, and just all right, on to the next, because promotions come and go. It sucks. Red gave it a try, and then come to find out, Frontline buys out the names and whatever. I'm actually curious how that went through. I'll have to ask. But anyway, pretty much they announced they were merging, and then that leads to something down the road. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, it was a pre-show match. We had fun. Me and Mateo went over, and another match with Adam Stallion and LT. That was a badass match. Well, it was fun. Maybe badass is a little too strong, but like I said, anytime I work at him, it's awesome. And I want to say that's my last LT match. That sounds about right. If it's not, it's coming up. So the thing with LT. So, Lucha Libre in general in Chicago is very, it's like old school. So they can be territorial. So, like, if you work here, you can't work there. We were told, and again, this was at the time. I've been having a blast at Galley. I'm glad I went to Galley. But at the time, we thought that was just with Galley. That wasn't with LT. Okay, cool. So All Star Lucha launches. And All Star Lucha hits us up, wants to book us. Cool. Yes, of course. So we do it, and then Joey Mayberry, at his last LT appearance, gets approached by the promoter, and he asks, hey, I don't want you wrestling at All Star. And I think Joey Mayberry said, okay, well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to, and they ended it there. So there, ergo, I was gone too. There was also some weirdness with the booking. Chris Miller used to run for LT. Chris Miller would book the guys for the non-lucha matches. Miller left for some reason. I think he was busy. I think life picked up or something. So then Mario picked it up. So Mario was booking us, and then Mario was starting to bring in his friends. Well, there was a clash now. So now we were booked, but then Mario has his friends. And then it was not working. So like left wasn't talking to right, and there was a huge big miscommunication, and it got to the point where it was like, this ain't worth it, guys. We're done. So, which me and Mario are cool, like whatever, So, but there was like a big confusion, and then like I said, we got hooked up with All Star, and then LT was making a fuss about it. So we're like, you know what? Let's move on. Had fun matches there. Goodbye. So I want to say Mario might have stayed a little bit longer. I think eventually they ended up switching guys who, I don't know how it works there now. I'll have to ask my friend who wrestles there. But anyway, Oh god, this match. So CSW, we did this angle earlier in the night. It was me and Miller doing a drink off, and we had to pretend to be drunk. So we played it off like we'd already been drinking, and we're coming in, we're chugging, and it is Miller Light. We're drinking. I win the drink off, and I remember Hades, he did not want anything on that fucking mat, on that canvas. Do not spill, do not spill, do not spill. So, I just remember the refs cradling this table over the top, and you could tell, like, they had fear in their eyes. If one thing spilled in that ring, we're all screwed. So... I don't know what Hades just put the fear of God in us about the ring. So we're like, I remember even when I was, when I jumped, I think I tripped over the rope, quote unquote, and the bump, you see a splash on the table, and I think even then everybody was like, so that was funny. The match itself was fine. I remember it's crazy. So this is, I go up for the finish, which is like, it was Marston and Boucher. He has me up, LOD style. Like the fucking clothesline, LOD, Road Warriors, that move. Doomsday Device, is that what it's called? Anyway, picks me up. Dude does a drop kick. And then the guy that I'm on shoulders falls back. I remember, I don't know what happened, but I remember when he went, it was like a white flash, and then it was like a white flash, and then he's pinning me. So it was like, I call it like, it's like when you watch Batman the Animated Series or Justice League, and like someone throws a punch, and you see a white flash. That's what it was like. It was weird. I was fine, I was okay. No, nobody was hurt or anything like that, but it was just funny, one match I had to act drunk in, and all of a sudden, boom. But no, nobody's at fault for that. It just happened. Shit happens. It's not checkers. It's wrestling. I got to wrestle Axel Rico at POW, which was cool. I think him and I got to run that one back too, though, because I know different settings. Because it was at T-Wood, so the ceiling was low. We could have a little bit of fun and roll around. That's not my first main event, is it? I don't know. But anyway, main event with Matteo Valentine for the AHW heavyweight title is at the Starlight Skate Park. This show went 4 freaking hours. There's like 14 matches. Everybody used the skate park as a spot. And it was the longest and craziest show. Here, me and Mateo are in the main event. So, I remember being emotional because I'm like, oh my god, this is a big moment for me. We go out there, we had a good match, and yeah, that was it. I mean, it was a good match. I think me and Mateo have had better matches since then. But no, it was a cool moment in time. And I remember Metalhead did a run in, beat Mateo for the belt. He had some kind of a Money in the Bank deal. And then I got to wrestle Steve Boz, my trainer, at Fusion, which was cool. That's another one I want to run back, kinda, because I'm like watching it back. There's these little, but again, I was new, there's little things. But I remember I'm hitting my comeback and he doesn't bump on one thing. He just kind of does a spin and he's like, oh, he's selling. I'm like, huh, that's weird. Tackle or something like. I don't know what. I think I gave him a tackle or something. And he didn't bump on a move, and then he told me, oh, you gotta hit me in the head or something. I'm like, all right, whatever. I got you, Boz. But yeah, that was fun. I'd love to do it again with Boz. Oh my god. So JWA, I do double duty. I'm on the pre-show, and then I have what at the time became my best match so far. It was me and Joey Mayberry. Me versus Joey Mayberry versus Eddie the Bruiser Cruz in the pre-show. And I remember it was fun three-way. remember Eddie does this cannonball spot. Joey's in one corner. I'm in the other corner. Joey's very animated with his face. He knows how to sell. Eddie gives him the cannonball. Boom. And I look across the ring. I see Joey Mayberry's like... I'm like... like, that's not how he sells. And then I see Eddie come at me. Like, oh, shit. And then he hits it. And, oh... I felt him. I felt Eddie and all of his weight, and it was... and then Eddie gets off. I look across the ring again at Joey, and Joey's got this... He looks right at me. We lock eyes in that, and I knew, oh. It was fine, though. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was a funny moment in time. So then I wrestle Inestra. And I remember I wanted to go long. Because I knew how Inestra was. He wants to put in the work. He wants to work. So we did it. And I remember he asked me twice, you want to go home? You want to go home? And I said, and both times I'm like, no. I think the last time I go, no, we have 2 more things to do. And that was awesome. I really wished, I hope that footage comes out. On one hand I do, on one hand I don't. Because on one hand I do, I want to watch it because I know that was like my best match at the time. Like, bar none. The street fight, if I had to pick between this and the street fight, I mean, the street fight was a spectacle, but this was like me, this is where all my work, training and everything's going, and cardio and whatever, is being put to the test. And I that's how I felt. And I got in there, and that's what kind of a wrestler Inestra is. He can work with anybody, including my big dumb ass. So, for that to be my best match, what better can you do? We had a interesting face versus face match, which we did this both in POW and UWE, and both kind of met with the same reaction, because we were 2 face tag teams, IPA and Bone Daddies. So it was hard. It sucked to make them pick. Honestly, I figured they'd just go with IPA, because IPA were, they've been long and established. But like, Trog's also been established with POW, so it's like they really didn't want to pick. I think there was a slight tinge towards IPA, but overall, you could tell the crowd didn't want to pick. They're like But other than that, the match was fun. So then, finally we go to our blow-off, me and Miller at CSW. Oh my god, this story here. So, we're told we're going to do the run-in, and we're going to fight for like 5 minutes and then brawl out. Later down the show, we come back. So, Devin is our ref. Miller throws me a car, Miller drives off. It was my car. It was my old car. Devin's earpiece... He loses signal. He can't hear anything. We can hear Charlie, Austin Adams. He for some reason he was doing Gorilla, and he was giving time cues and everything to the refs. We're not hearing any. We're hearing him, but he's not hearing us. So after a while, it goes dead. We hear this match before us went long. And we're hearing, and we're waiting. There's nothing. So if you watch the show back, there's a lull. Thankfully, it's noticeable. There's a pause in the show. Nothing's happening. And of course, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If I could have done it back, I would have had somebody I trust. Hey, call us, give us a ring when the match is done, and then go from there. And it is what it is. I ended up honking the horn, driving in, getting Miller back in there. We finished the match. Overall, I mean, there was like I said, it's all the little things. This is all hindsight too, but I remember I was happy with the match. I don't think Hades was happy with it, but like I think he was just mad at the show because like pretty much everything fucked up. Everything went over time, this, that, and the other. But like, I don't know. Really, I don't know. But I liked it. I could wrestle Miller just like Adam Stallion and Spade. Anytime I wrestle Miller, I'm learning. So, like, I'll wrestle Miller any day. There was a Rumble at Northland. This was my return to Northland in April. I hadn't been there since December. They had booked me for April, May, and June or July. We'll find out here soon. POW wanted me and Trog to challenge Bad Hombre Cartel for the tag titles, but I couldn't make it because I was booked in May for Northland. We pull up to the show for April, and we're told the show May's canceled. And I just remember being like, you've got to be kidding me. Because like, I couldn't do me and Trog couldn't do the tag titles. So in the moment, I'm like, I fucked Trog. I just fucked Trog. I don't have anything to show for it. Like, so I pull up. I asked Jimmy, like, you got anything? And he goes, no. I'm like, can I manage Trog? Yeah. Okay. So I ended up managing Trog that May show. And I told Trog what happened, and he goes, that sucks. And I remember I told him, like, dude, I feel bad. And he goes, no, dude, don't worry about it. But I'm like, I feel bad. We could have had a moment together. And I let it go. But, that being said, something else major happens. And I don't know if that happens if me and Trog win the tag titles. I don't know. Maybe it could have. Maybe it could have been a double champ. But I don't know. Curious. That's an interesting alternate universe I'd like to see. So I win the Rumble to be called champ, or not called champ, called number one contender to the champ. So then I make my debut for All-Star Lucha. It was me and a team called No Coast taking on Mateo, Kid Lat, Hao Ming. Hao Ming of TAU, a tag team out in the Milwaukee area, and so good. I want to wrestle them. Kid Lat, Kid Lat, God, I think at this time he was like 16, 15, 16. He was a kid. He's still a kid. But I remember wrestling was like, he was fighting back and going for the tag. I was like, he knows what he's doing. Holy shit. I don't know why I doubted it, but I was like, that's awesome. And I'm instantly like, we got to wrestle. Now him and I have got to wrestle. Cause like, and we still haven't wrestled yet. Because this whole All-Star thing falls through too. In my Wrestle League now, though, it could happen. Well, when he gets healed. And then another thing I'm doing down the road, he's there too. So, there's a chance. I would love to wrestle Kid Lat. So that was a pretty fun match. Then up in Fourth Wall, I take on Marman, who excited to wrestle. He's the promoter of Fourth Wall, so I'm like, okay, hopefully this goes well. It went good. I loved the match. I remember at that time I was having confidence issues. Because I think the problem was I wasn't as happy with my matches. Because I wanted every match to be, the best I could put out there. But there's just sometimes that's not going to happen. Maybe something flubs up. Maybe something's off your game. Maybe you're wrestling the wrong guy with the wrong chemistry. Maybe this, that. There's a million things. Maybe that's not what you need to do. Okay, you don't maybe you're not being asked to go out there and have a classic. I need this and this and this. That's all I need. And it happens. And there's a very valuable lesson about that later, hopefully. I hope that's it within my 200 matches. Otherwise, there's the next episode for 300. That's that special learning lesson I learned. That was a sentence. Fun match. Marman went over. JWA. I forgot about this match. It was me, Doom, Thesis, and Casey Jax. It was just a 4-way. And they had me go over. So, that was cool. Was that... I think Doom started his Lee Wyatt gimmick there. He was like Kung Fu, pretty much just like a Cobra Kai gimmick. And who would have thought that would eventually him and I would start teaming. So I go back to Damage. So after the whole match where I bled everywhere, I got let go from that promotion for a weekend. And then the Monday after, I got called back. Stevie, who owns Damage. Jimmy's the booker, Stevie's the owner. Stevie fired me. Stevie calls me back and goes, hey, I want you for May. I'm like, okay. So I fight Macabre, and that was another lesson where pretty much there was one of those deals where, like, the way Macabre wrestles, I didn't wrestle I didn't like, what's the word for it? Our styles clashed, which shouldn't have, because me and Macabre have wrestled before, and we to solid results. I think it was just a case of, no, I don't think I know. I called too much. We called too much, and then we forgot. So I learned. So that was another lesson of work with the guy you're working with. Don't just call a million things. And it just sucks because I knew, like, that's not how Macabre wrestles. And then when we wrestled again, it was way better, and it was way better, So that was a lesson. Went back to fourth wall. It was me versus Mo Foley versus Dysfunction versus Bobby V, and it's like a 4-way tag, not like a 4-way where you tag in and tag out, that kind of 4-way. So then it was just me and Mo, and then Dis pretty much just worked with Bobby. I remember after the match going up to Dis, I'm like, because Dis is a vet and he runs ICW and everything, so I'm like, what'd you think? And he goes, yeah, I'm not really a notes guy. I mean, you did good. You did okay. I was like, okay, sounds good. Thank you. And thanks to fourth fall on that leads to ICW. It's crazy, right? Wrestling is weird like that. It's a lot of networking. It's back to the Brower House for POW, and I'm taking on Scott Spade. It was for Summer Explosion, which was just in a Royal, and then You Better Work, which was POW's Pride show. And Mateo and Jimmy were booking it, and we had all these plans. Effie was brought in, and that was so cool. That wasn't where I met Effie. If you remember, I had I met him at brunch, and then I got the match on brunch. Cool. So, Effie was brought in, and we had a ball. We took him out to Korean barbecue after. So then I wrestled Spade, and I didn't know, I thought Spade was going over. And then out of nowhere, he said, gonna go for pile driver, give me a back body drop, pin me. Okay. Pinned him. He doesn't kick. I'm like, oh. And then I just hear Bob and the ref, get out of the ring. Huh? Get out of the ring. Get out of the ring. And here comes Spade. And then I rolled out. And right as I rolled out, he hit the rope. So, like, a second too long, he would have been beating my ass. So, thank God. And actually, I got some mementos from that Pride show. The ticket. Some bedazzled eyebrows and a piece of extension. I assume that is from Shelly. You can call me a freak for that, but I believe I texted this to Shelly, and she just goes, I love it. So, it is what it is. I believe this is my final match for the All-Star. It lasted 2 shows. Me and Akira Gonzalez taking on Danny G and Joey Mayberry. Danny, that was like his 4th match, I think. Maybe his 1st. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But it was great. And it was a fun match. Akira would not tag me in during the heat. I don't know why. Or after we're like, brother. He goes, oh shit, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's all good, man. I was just in shock. I'm like, how do you forget? Who am I to judge? Oh shit, I'm dying. Who am I to judge, man? Whatever. And ever since then, like every time I say, hey, what's up, bro? It's big hugs. So I like that. I actually saw Danny for the first time in ages at Ultimate Combat Gauntlet. And it was so nice to see him. So then, is this my last 4th wall show? I believe it is, because it's a... No, it's not. No, excuse me. That's later. But this is the Return of Super Mario, 4th wall. I was at St. Thomas More High School, which is a cool setting. It was like in a courtyard, and we were just covered with the walls. Crowd didn't give a fuck. And I don't think we gave him much of a reason, to be honest. I can't say it was a good 4-way. I can't. I remember I walked back. I kind of looked at Zach from Country Air. It's like, I mean, we did what we did. I mean, it was easy. We plotted out a pretty easy match, and we tried, but yeah, crowd didn't care. So, again, it was fine. I mean, it just that's how the cookie crumbles. Of course, back then that's how I was looking at it. I was miserable. It's like, god damn it. This was another, wow, 23. No one. Okay, so I was having this earlier when I was talking about 2024. I was like, what made 2023 so special compared to 2024? I had a lot of moments and learning lessons this year, apparently, because this was one. It was for Wrestle League. They were having a Pride show, and it was me versus Joey Mayberry. I really should have. So Joey was heel, I was face. First time both of us are coming out there, and the crowd just cheered Joey. They gave me a polite response, but I could tell they wanted to cheer Joey. And I remember after the fact, we were like, what if we would have just said fuck it and switched roles? And I remember I was like, damn. So another match where I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass. Because when am I going to be able to do something like this? Where you can just switch roles and there's no remorse, or not remorse, there's no repercussions. This one was rough. So it was myself and Apocalyptico taking on Doug Simmons and Mr. Television, who was Doug Simmons' manager for Fusion. So Apocalyptico, I want to say, is like 70. Nice guy. Him and Doug, I think, run Fusion. We had called things, not too much, kept it simple. Because Mr. TV's a manager, he's not a wrestler, and Apocalyptico, he's older. So, there's only so much we can do. He starts off with Doug, and he punches Doug right in the face. And I thought we were going to something else, and Doug goes, no, just fucking, oh god, he's angry. So, by this point, he's probably thinking this match is fucked. So then, he goes to shoot me off, and I think we were supposed to reverse it, and when I had him, he was so baby oiled up, I slipped out. And I was like, oh my god. So then I just hit the rope and just sold into the middle. And it felt like an eternity. So I'm like, oh my god, Doug's going to be like, fuck this. Are you fucking serious? But then after that, me and Doug, we worked together pretty well. That's actually one I would love to have, a one-on-one with Doug. So it comes time for me to hit my knee drop on Mr. Television, and I told him lay this way. He lays long way. So I'm like, motherfucker. If I do a knee drop, I'll lay it on his head. So I'm like, okay. So I thought what I could do was jump and pivot. The rope was loose somewhat, so when I jumped, I slipped, and it turned into an elbow drop. And I beat him with an elbow drop. I got to live my Randy Savage moment and beat him with an elbow drop. So afterward, I'm like, Doug, I'm so sorry about the rope thing. He goes, no, when you did it, I was shocked, like, okay. And then he goes, yeah, dude, everything we did, we flowed. I'm like, yes, thank you. Because I was worried. I'm like, oh my god, Doug is probably thinking this match is fucked. As soon as I slipped out of his fingers, he's probably going, no. Because everything's going wrong. So this was interesting. JWA in June, they bring up this guy named Mad Dog Connolly. And I looked him up the week of, and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, okay. This is gonna be a hard-hitting match. So I go up to Mr. Connolly, and I go, how do you feel about giving me a hip toss on the concrete? He just has this look like... he just starts laughing. He goes, I see we have similar mindsets. So, Connolly suggests a gut wrench, so I'm like, sure. So we're fighting. Another one of those, another ones I want to run back, because I know we could fucking boom, 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 boom. Now that we kind of know each other in that way. Throws me on the concrete. I was fine. Laying on my hip, but I was okay. I remember the big reaction, and I remember JW clipped it, threw it online. And I remember the commentary was going, "Oh shit, oh my god," because we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell anybody. We just did it. So that was fun. Afterward, I got to win though. So you got to throw me on concrete, and I still won. Wrestling logic. I'm so far 2-1 when it comes to bumping on concrete and winning in the end. So hey, you got to take the good with the bad, right? But no, that was fun, and I was hoping he'd be brought back up more, and it didn't happen. But I got to see him again at 01 USA, which was cool. And we got to talk a bit, catch up. I know he's in the Memphis area now, which is fuck yeah, dude. Get out of these areas, get into more areas, new areas. That's our deal. Love it. He probably knows way more about that than I do, so I need to hush. So then, Northland, my last Northland show. It was myself challenging Eric Schultz. And fun match. Anytime I work Eric, it's always good. We did the cactus calls onto the outside. And I remember I was so amped up, I kicked the trash can, and there was a 2-year-old right there. Yeah, so the can doesn't kind of hits her, but doesn't knock her off. But I remember thinking, ooh, fuck. So after the show, I gave him free shirts. I said, I'm so sorry. I grabbed I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I felt terrible. But thankfully, she was okay. But I remember sitting there like, man, oh man. So the next match, it was me challenging Spade. And it was for the POWW Championship. So, once again, there's no finish on the sheet. So I'm like, okay. It says C Spades. I'm like, alright. So talking to Spade. And he's like, alright, yeah, so, something. Put me in a sleeper. Cool. So, put him in a sleeper. And he's working it. We're working it. So I'm thinking what he's going to do. He's going to amp up. Get out of the sleeper. Put me in the pile driver. Boom. That's it. Because Spade's old school. He doesn't call much, if anything. So, in advance, I mean. So, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, here we go. And he's not getting up. And then as he's in, he just goes, congrats, kid. And he just passes out. 1, 2, 3. I start crying. Because, like I said earlier, there was a moment in 23 where I was all up in my feelings for some reason. It sucks. You have those moments, and then you remember you were in a funk, but you don't remember what the funk was about. It's weird. It was one of those moments of, what's the word? Validation, I guess. It was a moment of validation, All this hard work finally paid off because a promotion trusts me with their major title. And not just that, it's the POW heavyweight title. POW's been around. POW is currently the longest running show in the Chicago area. So, yeah. Of all the belts to win, for my first ever championship, I figured, my first title would be a tag belt. Or an upstart company's belt. No, it's the POW Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, I cried and the whole locker room pours out. I had no idea. It wasn't told to me. Everybody comes out and celebrates. I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is amazing. I remember, it's funny. They were like, oh, you're not going to sleep tonight. I slept like I remember laying in bed. I had the belt and because, I was so, I guess, rocked, I guess, in a way. I was just I was just exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I was just passed out instantly in the bed, thankfully. And the weirdest thing is, I think I worked the next day. That was quite, that's always quite the jarring effect, is when you just, you just go to work the next day as if you didn't just wrestle the night before, or you didn't just get this monumental achievement. and then you go to work the next day, and Gertrude does not have a clue what you did, and probably doesn't care. So it could be a bitter pill to swallow sometimes. But Second Wrestling. Second Wrestling, I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I did a Rhino seminar, and Rhino said, he goes, just send your shit in. There's no right time for anything. Just keep sending your shit in to places. Gotcha. So, I made a list of, I don't even know if I was making a list. I think I was just going on profiles and seeing if they were, worth it. I knew about Second, so I hopped on Second. And then, literally, right as I was looking to get their info to email them, I see talent search. Looking for people who have only wrestled once or never in the Second Wrestling. So I'm like, oh, the timing of this. Send it in. And got a response. And I go, yeah, we'll look this over. Cool. Get a response, hey, what's your rate? And I give him a rate. And he goes, oh, we don't pay people less than this. So like, oh, okay. So thanks to them, I raised my rate. Like, all right, well, if I'm worth that to you, I'm worth that everywhere. Of course, it's not true, but that's the asking price, So, it was myself, Anakin Murphy, Solomon Tupu, Matt Honey, and Tim Bosby. It was cool because I got to interact with, I think, just about everybody in this match. Anakin came up with the finish, which, funny enough, I've used that for cutoffs, where he does the big fucking jump, catch him, boom, drop the knee, 1, 2, 3. Now I just fucking catch him and chuck him. So, thank you, Anakin Murphy, for that. I won. I was like, sure, okay. So I had an inkling, like, okay, if I'm winning, then he's probably going to be calling me back more often. Sure enough, win. And then, you can call back. Tupu, I remember Tupu was supposed to do something, and, like, he twisted his ankle on something. I was like, oh, shit. So thankfully he was okay. Matt Honey's awesome. I love Matt. Tim Bosby is a fucking beast. I remember, when he hooks me for the German, I knew instantly, like, oh, we're flying, baby. And even I remember I was selling and I grabbed the rope, and thankfully I didn't hold on too tight. Honestly, even if I did, I don't think it would have mattered because like I said, whoosh, there I went. That was wild. Oh my God. Tim Bosby's a beast. This was a match I had fun with. I think we had a couple of these, but it was myself, Adam Stallion, Cody James versus Haykeepers, which was Shane Hollister, Boucher, and Marston. Fun 6-man. Fun way to open the show. Oh my God. So, WAW North America. WAW is a promotion out in the UK ran by the Knights. Soraya Knight, the family of Paige. Pretty cool. Got to meet them. Nice people, by the way. So it was me versus... It was originally supposed to be me and a 6-man. And I remember the other side had Willie the Bomb, C-Red, and I think somebody else. Willie got... But he ended up not booking Willie. I remember Yabo and Ruffalo were supposed to be on the show. They pulled out because I think the promoter was all like, you got to share the show. And Yabo and Ruffalo were like, yeah, fuck off. And left. Oh, my God. So... I just trying to remember. I knew when I was looking at this journal before I started, I went, oh my God, we have to go all the way back here, and oh my God, there's so much to talk about. Okay, now I'm starting to see why 23 was very eventful. Jesus Christ. So, it changed to me and Koa. Awesome. Love it. So, this show was at the Tinley Park Convention Center. We are, I helped up with setup the night before. And we find the packet, the bill for the venue. It's $13,000. And we're all looking at each other like, $13,000, man. And we're like, how many tickets did he sell? Because, like, here's the thing. This venue, he had to fly the Knights. He had to fly Latimer and Camille. A bunch of Memphis guys came down. People are coming in from all around. And we were all told we were going to get paid a certain amount. And silly us expected him to pay us the night of. Now, had he just said, guys, here's the deal. Some of you are getting paid today, some of you are going to get paid Monday. At that rate, I feel like as annoyed whatever wrestler's going to bitch, everyone will be like, okay, cool. We know what's going on. This promoter was late as shit to the show. We have the ring set up. Everybody's chilling. I do my due diligence, say hello to the promoter, and ask, "What would you like for me and Koa today?" And he goes, "You know what I'd like? I'd like for you to hang up this banner." Okay. Hang up the banner. I go, okay. Well, what do you want from me and Koa? You know what I want? I want you to go staple these. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Okay. So then, here I am being a grunt, doing this shit. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just, in my head, I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, this isn't happening, is it? So then, we're all in the meeting. And the promoter he just breaks down and starts crying. And we're all like, okay. So, meeting adjourns. I step outside. There's a whole other meeting with all the wrestlers. And I get looked in the eyes and I'm told, you may not be getting paid. I'm like, oh. And they're like, yeah. What do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. Because I knew Koa wanted to wrestle me. And I wanted to wrestle Koa. So I'm like, let me talk to Koa. So I told Koa what happened because Koa wasn't there. Koa's like, no, man, bro, I'll pay you. I'm like, no way, because this guy was promising double my rate. More than double my rate at that time. So I'm like, no way you're not paying that. Here's my regular rate. And he said, okay. Just don't leave. I want to have this match. I want to send this to, like, at the time Cole was doing stuff with NWA. He goes, I want to show this to NWA. I'm like, all right, let's do it. We had the match. I remember there was one point Koa, I'm selling, I think I was supposed to take a frog splash, and I'm like, no, what it was I was supposed to get up and do something. I think I was supposed to do like a Samoa Joe, where I just walk away from his like fucking crossbody. So I'm getting to my knees and he splashes me, and I'm like, what the fuck? I watched it back. He slipped, and he saved it by splashing me. I remember in the moment, I go, whoa, because he's a solid dude. So like all that can thrown on you, like, oh my god, what the fuck? And he just slipped was all. Climbs up, do the spot. We're back to where we were. Finished the match. So I remember taking the Hurricane Rana. Instead of flipping forward, I did this weird, like, I fucked up the bump. It was weird. But yeah. And then for some reason I stayed for the whole show, watching everybody run around with their heads cut off, chicken with heads cut off, and just going like, what the fuck's going on, you know? So then, nobody, I remember, like, I don't think anybody got paid. Well, actually, no, I think some of the names and some of the other guys got paid. But anyway, I get handed money. Not what I was told. Says, I'll get you more soon. Okay. Guy follows him, leans in, he goes, that was from Koa, by the way. I'm like, okay. So then Monday comes, I get the rest of what I was owed. And technically, well, I mean, unless he's paid Koa back. But Koa gave me that first half, and then he gave me the rest. So I will say he did pay me eventually. But it wasn't looking good. That first half. 400 people allegedly came. There was a lot of people. I don't know if it was 400. It might have been 3. But I think only 100 of them paid. How does that happen? I don't know. I'm not a promoter. I believe Larry Jennings was on this show, and Larry actually passed away recently, so thoughts to his family. But I remember he comes out, he goes, Moondog, What's up, man? I only counted, hold on, it's 3, 6, I love having to count. 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, there's only 11 turnbuckle pads, man. I'm like, really? He goes, something funny's going on. I'm like, yeah, something funny's going on. And then, the turnbuckle pad never turned up. I'm curious whatever happened to it. So, I gotta remember, Larry, we went up to him, and Larry goes, oh, I'm getting fucking paid. Or else something's gonna fucking happen. And me and Mason Perks like, oh, okay. You go get paid, Larry. I heard there's a big fight. They had to get broke up between the promoter and the sound guy. Oh my god, it was a shit show, dude. I was because I was supposed to be at that show too, but he another bullshit with this promoter. Needless to say, this show was a dud. It was a bomb. And the worst part was, I go up to my friends who live 20 minutes outside Tinley Park, excited to see me finally wrestle, because they live in that area, far from me, so they don't get to see me wrestle often. So they paid for this show. My best friend and his girlfriend, who's also my friend, she is blind. But she loves going out, she loves going to wrestling, and she likes to listen. She likes the energy of the crowd, she was telling. I remember she saying, she goes, I know what part of the match you're in, just from listening. So I have my match. I was the first match. Intermission goes, I come up, and I tell them everything what's going on everything I knew at the time, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. How's the show? And I'm thinking in my head, like, if this show's good, fuck it. If this is a great show, fuck it. My friend looks me in the eye and goes, eh. I'm like, are you serious? He goes, yeah. I like the, because he's gone up to a couple Northland shows. He goes, I like those Woodstock shows more. And I'm like, wow. So, fast forward to Damage. They introduced a new belt, the regional title. It's myself, Warchild, Kazile, and Rafael Quintero. Which Quintero around that time was picking up steam. The rookie sensation. Anyway, it was cool for me and Raf because we're both from Belvedere. So that was cool. That was really cool to get to experience. There was kind of like with the LLT thing. There was like a big booking misunderstanding because like Jimmy Blaze was doing his thing and then this lady was doing another thing. And Stevie was lit, and I think Stevie was one of those cases where whoever he last listened to is who he was running with. So he listened to Jimmy. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll go with you, Jimmy. They don't listen to this lady. Okay, we'll go with you. Yeah. Nothing against Stevie. I love Stevie. I think I hope he's doing okay because I know he's been going through a lot. But it was one of those deals where afterward I just said I'm done. And I resigned. I said, I'll finish up in October. You have whoever you want beat me. Okay, sounds good. And then he gives me the you can't quit, you're fired thing. Okay. October show happens. Day later. Hey, what can I do to bring you back? Said, all right, I'll come back. He raised my rate, so I was like, hell yeah. All right, I appreciate that. I think Jimmy ends up leaving. Boz comes in. Capri comes in. Shelly was already a regular there. Jimmy eventually comes back, and then right now we don't know what Damage is doing. They were supposed to have shows in August, October, and December, and they all canceled, and right now it's all up in limbo. National Night Out in Janesville. It was myself and Lee Wyatt. This is where our tag team started. The Southern Death Trip. We just came up with a bunch of names, and we landed on Southern Death Trip, which I took from Wisconsin Death Trip, the song from Static X. Took on Alpha Zeta Zeta, who were the tag team champions for, at that point, like a year or so. Hans and Gonzo, at this time, I won't say Austin Adams was pretty much out of wrestling in the moment. So Gonzo and Hans are taking up the helms. Fun match. You know, we were just given time. Gonzo suplexed me on my head. Hooked me and they just fucking went. I was like, whoa, god damn it, hold on. And he goes, you didn't jump. I'm like, bullshit. I was like, all right, there's no arguing with you, man. Fuck off. Love you, Gonzi. My first POW heavyweight title defense was at Lake Moore for a beach bash. And it was against Macabre. And like I said earlier about the whole thing, this time we had a way better match. Coolest thing, this was my manager, my area manager pulled up to see the show. It was a free show. It was in Lake Moore. And before, when I got hired to work at the place I'm at now, it was one of those like, well, you do what now? You wrestle? Okay. So they pulled up to the show. And afterward, I could tell it was one of those things where like, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll work with you. We'll make it happen. I feel like when they went to that show, it was like a click. They're like, holy shit, we get it now. That kind of a deal. And that's always cool. We get it now. Okay. So yeah, we should definitely support this. And then I defended it at No Regrets Wrestling. So Red hits me up and goes, you gonna bring that POW belt with you? I'm like, wasn't planning to, no. And he goes, I'm trying to spice up your match. Would you be able to defend the belt? I was like, okay, well, I have to go over, obviously, not to be that guy. He goes, well, yeah, no shit. Yeah, that sounds good. So I'm like, well, let me ask Jimmy. Asked Jimmy, and Jimmy greenlit it. So he goes, okay. But that was the first thing he goes, you know you can't lose, right? He's like, yeah, I know. So it was defending against Blair Onyx, Trent Hammer, and Alvin Gray. And I'm curious if that POW belt was ever defended against a woman, because if it wasn't, then history maker, baby. First LGBT POW champ, and goddamn first guy defended against a woman. So, it was standard four-way. I remember Eugene actually had his seminar that day, and I did it. That's where I met, what's your wrestler name? It's Rochelle. I can't remember. Josie Valentine. That's where I met Josie, which is pretty cool. CSW, that was the one they brought Dreamer in, and the seminar. And that's how I met Dreamer, and he recognizes me at TNA, and I get a spot on the extra gig, on the PCO Steph DeLander. It's awesome. I'm like, fuck yes, dude. It was myself, Shane Boucher, Jay Marston, Quintero, Mayberry, and Adam Stallion. All I remember was, it's funny, I remember we did the Tower of Doom, and he wanted to do more afterward. I'm like, it's a Tower of Doom, let's end it there. Nowadays, I feel like I'd be like, yeah, let's do one more thing. I don't know why I was so dead set on not doing anything after that Tower of Doom. I feel silly. I defended the POW belt against Joey Mayberry for a special Winthrop Harbor show for POW. That was cool. I remember we were putting a match together, and a group of people pulled up, and we're looking at us in the ring, and I dove out of the ring to keep kayfabe alive, goddammit. Even though I've been breaking it throughout this whole podcast. But, in the day of, in the moment, showtime, kayfabe up, goddammit. I remember I just ran. They're like, dude, you just fucking booked it. Fun match, always fun with Joey. I remember Jillian was having... So, the thing was, Joey, like, what if... Have Joey in the sleeper. Jillian hops up, puts her hands up. Joey grabs her hands. Jillian pulls. Joey head go under the rope. Me take the rope into the chest. Cut off. Jillian was unsure how to get down because it wasn't the low boy ring. It wasn't low to the ground. It was high up. Had steel stairs, and I don't think we had the stairs for some reason. And she goes, well, how am I supposed to get down? And we're like, just get down. Well, I can't jump down. I'm like, you can't? But then we're like, well, okay, just spin to your ass and slide down. And she does it. She goes, oh, okay. So, made it work. Like, all right, perfect. Yay, we learned something today. I had a rematch of the Nestor at JWA, and first match, probably still the better one, but we still pretty good. And there's another one I wish I could see. But yeah, it was fun. The big one. Effie's Gay Brunch. Big Gay Brunch 7. This time, Effie hits me up and books me. He books me with Mateo, Mayberry, and Shelly. We're taking on Logan Black, Sazzy Boatwright, Quasey, and Angelo Carter. And looking back, I really wish we had this spot with the Cactus Line. I didn't get enough torque or didn't get enough speed, so boom, he doesn't go over, and we had to fucking slide out from under the bottom, and we're like, fuck. It was, other than that, I remember me and Sazzy did a spot. She did, me and Sazzy did a spot. They did the vagina V thing, and I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, we could do that. So, but I remember afterward, I'm like kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I think I for some reason I thought I didn't do my part, and I was just beat up about it. And then I remember watching it back because it was live, so I got to watch it back. I went, the fuck am I freaking out about? It was fun, you know. And then it was a car crash. So like, best part, it's a GCW show, so people are doing reviews of it. So I'm looking up reviews, like ooh, and then they were pretty much the people who reviewed it were pretty much said, you know, it was standard 8-man tag car crash. They went at each other. So like, all right, I'll take it. I'll take that. I was just hoping like, oh man, that Moondog is the shit. Oh my god. So I forgot something huge here. Moondog. When Second Wrestling booked me, they booked me as Moondog. I was trying to be DFB full force. Problem with the DFB character, it was the same. It was Moondog, but it was a different name. So it caused a lot of confusion. Yeah, it's the same gimmick, so there's confusion. The thing with Maurice is it's a different gimmick, it's a different identity, and I tried to force DFB down, and it got spat out. So the Moondog thing right now, it's a slow transition, and I've pitched this to every promoter that books you as Moondog. If you turn me heel, have me become Maurice. Easy story. And then when Maurice gets popular, if you turn back face, guess what? He's still Maurice. That's the trick. So it works, you know, because like at that point, Moondog would be like we're going 3 steps back. But now, okay, let's see a face version of Maurice. Ta-da! So, and then like, and again, you could do the story of like, you don't call me Moondog, you don't bark, tell them to the crowd. And of course, what's the crowd going to do? Bark, chant Moondog. Yeah, for some reason I was beating myself up though. Cool thing though was two shows that day. So we drove and brunch was at noon, POW was at 7, so easy. So I got to go up there. It was cool. So the thing about, I think this was the last major thing myself, Mateo, Mayberry, and Shelly, and Jillian, and all that. I think that was the last thing we all did as a group. And the thing about us as a group is all of us have such personalities and are very, not selfish as, you know, that's a tough term, but like, we all have our own egos. We all have our own trajectories and how we view ourselves and where we're going to go. You have four of that. So you have 4 main characters is what I'm saying. So you have, one of us has to be the main character, and then there's the rest of the cast. All 4 of us are the main character. That's not going to work. So I think it was just one of those deals where, like, I know at LT we tried to make it work. We tried to do it at All-Star. It didn't work. We got to do a little bit of it up in for NRW. And then this GCW thing, I think, you know, should be the last hurrah. Because, like I said, at this point, this was over a year ago. And I think we've all, like, you know, Mayberry's moved to the Carolinas. He still does this stuff in Florida. Shelly's moved to Florida. Mateo's doing whatever Mateo's doing. And then me, you know, I'm going up to Wisconsin. I'm still bouncing around every weekend. And then I'm Maurice now at places. So it's like, I feel like if we were to do the group thing full time on the indies or whatever, or a promotion or two, it's too late. And I think we're all in our own stuff. What's the point? I was talking about earlier about, like, you know, 3 steps back. I feel like it'd be 3 steps back for all of us. I don't know if all of us agree with that. But that's how I feel. Obviously, I would love to wrestle them again. I'd wrestle all of them. I'll tag with them, of course. But, like, the idea of us as a group, I don't think works. So, drive down the road for POW. I defend the belt against Meat Hooks. Crowd really wanted Meat Hooks to win. They were like, let's go. Didn't happen. It is what it is. Didn't happen, of course. I defended it successfully, but it was a fun match. Honestly, that was my favorite defense, was Meat Hooks. Because, like, it was the dynamic. It was that cool dynamic of they want to see Meat Hooks win. Because, like, how many times have you watched wrestling and you're like, oh, okay, we want to see this guy win the belt, and then he doesn't win. You know, like Sami Zayn or Daniel Bryan. So it was cool to be, like, that kind of a similar dynamic. Obviously, I'm not Sami Zayn or Daniel Bryan. But that kind of a dynamic was pretty cool to be a part of. It was in a Royal at CSW for the tag titles. I remember we put it together and it all fell apart. It was just, went down to Royal. Vic Capri was in it. I go up to Capri. I was like, well, this got all fucked up. He goes, yeah. Had a defense against Eric Schultz for a Saturday Night Fight at Wooddale for POW. Then at JWA, took on FXB. And I had Dave the Awesome as my manager. And we had a spot for Dave, and we fucking forgot. So Dave did not take that kindly, and Dave does not talk to me anymore. So that sucks. But other than that, I was pretty proud of the match. We went 20. I remember afterward, Frankie just goes, I'm fucking tired. So then go to AHW the day later, and myself and Mayberry are challenging Country Air, and we become the AHW Tag Team Champions. AHW proceeds to go on hiatus for a year. Announced their comeback, and neither me and Joey could be there, so we had to give the belts back. I love it! Wrestling's fun. Fusion Pro Wrestling's back finally, and I'm wrestling Tyler Sullivan, which, yes, I loved it. I love wrestling. I got to wrestle him twice for Fusion. That was the first match. Tyler, I think, squashed me, and then the rematch was, got my win back. This was a pretty cool match. It's a Road to Wrestle Rage. I defended against Jimmy Blaze, who was on his way out. Jimmy wins, and it was pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of happenings at the end. Mateo turns on me. Turns heel. Oh, no. Starting a feud between myself and Mateo. So Jimmy wins the belt. He defends it twice and then loses it and then retires. So it was a cool send-off for Jimmy. I then make my San Francisco debut for Full Queer Wrestling. And it was against Jaguar Montoya. Unfortunately, our chemistry was not there. And the match kind of fell apart. The match kind of fell apart. We didn't really have chemistry. Which is crazy because I figured we would. Because when I watched some of his matches back, and I was like, oh, there's no reason why we didn't. It just didn't click. Couldn't hear each other either for some reason. I think it was outdoors, and I don't know. You can make a million excuses. The match was what it was, I remember I had fun. It was on Bearson Street, so I got to, and at the time I was still drinking, so I hit up all the bars, the pizza place there. Got ice cream. It was great. Saw the craziest looking people, and they weren't even in the ring. They weren't even the wrestlers. They were civilians enjoying Bearson Street Fair. What's funny is they took me, put me on the 2024 flyer, the Bearson Street Festival. They used a picture of me on the flyer. I wasn't even on the show. And I remember even Jetta, one of the promoters, she goes, "You're not even on the show, and they're using you for the poster." I'm like, that's what I call winning. I'd love to run it back. I'd love to go back to Full Queer altogether, So hopefully that happens. That wouldn't be the last to see of California, though. I also have a dingle dollar along with my boarding passes from Southwest. Fake money. I always laugh every time I look at this thing. Dingle was a trip. I wish nothing but the best for Dingle. I love Dingle. So one of the cool things was Alex Kane was popping up at JWA, which is cool. So he was in the main event. He was critiquing. He's watching matches. He's giving me critiques, and everybody critiques, which I'm very thankful for. I really appreciate Alex Kane. So it was myself, Lee Wyatt, and a guy named Jackal Stevens out of Florida, taking on Alpha Zeta Zeta. Austin came back. Okay, so Austin was still wrestling. It's funny, I don't remember anything from the match. I just remember the cake. So Wyatt just had a big freaking cake and just threw it at Hans. And it's like, that's all I remember. It's crazy. That was like one of those, like, I remember, I think it was when I was going through, or no, a clip popped up. And I remember watching it, I shared the clip. I'm like, I don't remember this match. What were we doing? And then it clicked. I'm like, oh, I remember now. And we were just going back and forth laughing about it. Is this my last? No, actually, this was cool. So I'm up at Fourth Wall. October 27th, taking on RPG, CJ Cole, Gavin Parker. It's funny. So I believe it was RPG. He was about my size, and Gavin was the quick one. I hope I'm not mixing y'all's names up. So CJ wasn't there yet. So when they told me that, I was like, okay, I know you and CJ are going to be working. And then I was like, you and me are working. As soon as CJ pulled up, same spiel, CJ goes, okay, so you and me are working. So literally me and CJ had the same one. There was a dive spot. CJ landed on a fan, but she was a regular, so she had a blast. And we all checked on her. She goes, I love it. I love wrestling. So like, okay, thank God. I remember that was a fun match. And then afterward, they're like, oh, do you got any tips? I'm like, oh, just lay in your strikes. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah. I'm a big guy. Fucking throw it. And they're like, oh, we get told we're stiff. I think they were like 10 matches in. They're like, oh, we get told we're stiff. I remember their trainer was there, Justin Fowler. And he was kind of listening in. And I was like, really? I'm like, it's wrestling. What the fuck? You know, whatever. So I was like, I don't know. I just throw it. So then I get my blow off with Tyler at Fusion, and I think that's the last Fusion. Or some bullshit happened on that show that I'm still not thrilled about. The last Brower House show for POW was the start of my feud with Mateo. And honestly, so we had 7 months. 7 matches. I think this was the best one. Was our first one. The one at T-Wood was cool because we did something different. I just jumped him through the crowd. And you could argue, well, why is the face doing that? I was like, well, I'm pissed off. I'm trying to get something over on Mateo so I can get this win. Because, like, the story is I got to beat him. And I can't beat him because he's either getting himself DQ'd, he's beating me. You know, it's a story. I want this win so freaking bad. I'll do whatever it takes. But that was a good one. I like that one. UWE was this one? I don't remember this match. I don't remember this match. What the fuck? That's not the one I'm thinking of the 3-way. Oh man, is my memory already going out? That sucks. Yeah, that's a different match. I don't remember this match. That sucks. I'm sorry, guys. I remember the next one because there's a fun story to it. JWA, fucking myself and Wyatt challenging Pancho and Quintero for the JWA tag belts. They get the win. There's a happy accident that happened. My bandana goes over my eyes, and I'm like, I'm telling him, hey, get off me. He gets off me. I'm swinging at the air, and I love Pancho. And the moment he goes, what the fuck's he doing? And then he clicks like, oh, okay. So then he grabs me, does something, blah, 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 pull off. I just see Quintero right here. I was ah! I'm like, oh! So that was a fun match. Then we go to the second match with Mateo. I got the win via DQ. I think he slapped the ref. Oh, good. Okay, this happened. Okay, good. So this happened in my first 200 matches. This was a valuable lesson I learned. Another one. See, look, 2023 was full of lessons. Lessons. And I think that's why it edges over 24. And again, not shitting on 24, because 24 was a grind year. And now, like, 25, I got a lot of shit playing, so this is going to blow up. But anyway, this was a valuable learning experience here. Jimmy Blaze and Eric Freedom are retiring. Jimmy Blaze had his last match at POW. This is his last match at UWE in Michigan. It was him, it was Jimmy, Eric, GQ versus Jay Scott, Kazile, and Max Morrison. So, it's a retirement match. I drive up. You see I go up to one of the guys, and I'm like, hey, okay, what do you need tonight? And he goes, oh, about 5 to 7, you and Mason. And I remember leading up, I was like, oh my God, I'm wrestling Mason. This is going to be great. I'm so excited. And then he said 5 to 7. I'm like, 5 to 7, that's it? I thought that. I didn't say anything. And they're like, is that okay? I'm like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. And then I looked, every match was 5 to 7 except the main. But it didn't click yet. So I was like, that sucks. So I'm telling it to Mason. He goes, yeah. Mason's like, yeah, I'm sure we'll wrestle again. I'm like, oh, okay, hopefully. So we go out there. Place is packed. They had to pull out the bleachers because this was at the Armory. They switched from the Wex to the Armory because from what I understand, the Armory was cheaper and was bigger. And I think they could sell alcohol there. They couldn't sell alcohol at the Wex. So we go out and the crowd was polite. I'm like, I got to the back, just kind of being a diva about it. I'm like, what? Oh, 5 to 7 minute match, crowd's not into it. What? So then, fast forward to the main event. Sitting there. Eric, GQ, and Jim come out. Thunderous reaction. Clicked right there. Tonight's not about me. It's not about Mason. It's not about anybody else on this card. It's about those 6 in the ring. So, I can't help but be somewhat embarrassed. Not somewhat, pretty embarrassed that I had this mindset of, oh, me and Mason should have went longer. Ooh, this crowd should have been better. Me. But it's like, tonight's not about you. I'm like, and that was oh, shit. I'm just glad this all happened in my head and not out loud. Other than Mason. I think I've even told this to Mason. And Mason even Mason was like, yes. But yeah, that was a valuable learning experience. I'm like, okay. And then that was another thing, like, they don't, like, and I think listening to Mick Foley talk about this, like, they don't need that. What they need is a solid match. That's all they need. They don't need 10, 15-minute classic. They need just 5 to 7. Go out there, tell a story. That's all they need. But I wanted more! Selfishly. And then for that, I got farted in the face and slapped to remind me. It's not about you, bitch! It's about Eric, Jim, and GQ. Well, it's mostly about Eric and Jim, but GQ was there too. So, I went to Fourth Wall to finish off 23 in Milwaukee as Santa Claus. I dressed up as Santa, came out to Chris Cornell's cover of Ave Maria. Flopped. They switched the song after I won. I'm like, oh, I liked Ave Maria. I just wanted to come out to Chris Cornell's song, to be honest. I took on Oso Turco and Nell Danger. Or is it Neil Danger? I don't know. It's Dillinger. It's Neil Dillinger. Nell Dillinger. So anyway, it was a fun match. Gave Oso the best side slam ever. Pinned him 1, 2, 3, and Christmas was saved. What that fun note to end 23 on. Honestly, so far, I think 23 is my favorite year of wrestling. Definitely. So, let's see if we can blow that out of the water with 2025. Match, just 10 more matches, by the way, in case you're like, holy shit. Match 190. I make my debut for Pro Wrestling Epic in St. Louis area. So, St. Louis, or Missouri, the state, requires a license. ooh, okay. I knew this was going to happen eventually, so I'm like, ooh, how do I go about this? So I'm like, get the stuff. I got the wrong stuff, so I got to get the other stuff. Thankfully, I realized I had the wrong stuff, so I got all these. So I got extra tests done, this and the other. So to get a license in Missouri, you need a physical that's no more than 3 months old, blood test that's no more than 12 months old, and the blood test is for hepatitis and HIV. So finally got all that stuff and a check for $40. Mailed it. Yes. Mail it. You have to mail it. There's no email. Even though, just think of how so easy it would be if you could just email this and, here's the pay link. Whatever. So, I got my license. This is the best part. So, Lenny, the promoter, hits me up. He goes, hey, can you send me your license number again? I'm like, yeah. As I'm looking it up, I got it pulled up. I see. The state says you don't have a license. It says they don't have anybody under Greg Murray. And then this heart attack I was having suddenly dissipated. Well, no, I was still kind of freaking out. Because I'm like, I think it's under my real name, Gregory Jones. Leaves me on red. Half hour goes by. So then I text Lenny like, are we good? He goes, oh, yeah, we're fine. I'm like, oh, my God, I was about to have a panic attack, dude. So he looked at it. He thought my real name was Greg Murray. But my real name is Gregory Jones. So that was funny. Just imagine Lenny going, God damn it. Lenny's a great guy. I love him. So I made my debut. Took on Derek Fulton. Fun match. Derek got the win. And he wanted old school Moondog. They had a Moondog there that retired. And so they're like, I want old school Moondog. Gotcha. I'll do it. Dusted off the jeans and went out there and had fun. Just barked and did a pee spot, which I had to stop because my recent pee spots they don't look like pee spots. They look like something else. So anyway, I debut January 14th, Galley Lucha. Hell yeah. So Axel in December hit me up and goes, because I hadn't wrestled for All Star since June. Obviously left LLT. Axel hits me up and goes, hey, we could use some extra guys at Galley. Are you interested? Yeah. But I was nervous. I'm like, would I fit in? That's what I was worried about. And then I was like worried because, so the thing at LLT was I was a heel at first and then I was a face. This is what I forgot to mention. The crowd didn't care. Crowd didn't like me. They liked Mateo and Joey. That's it. That sucks. So, thankfully I was a heel at All-Star, but at the time All-Star was just launching, so the crowd wasn't as there as they are now. So then, Galley comes up, I'm thinking I gotta be a heel, right? Because, that's not gonna work. A face me. You're a face. Fuck! In my head, I'm like, fuck! Okay. Well, let's do it. And I'll be damned. They barked. And they were into it. Okay. So because the Lucha audience is very edit that. So yeah, so the Galley Lucha audience liked me. Cool. Okay, that's a good start. So my first match was Academico, FXB, Eddie Grayson, Storyteller. And Eldridge is awesome. I could wrestle Eldridge all the time. FXB was doing a whisper in the wind and he slipped and the crowd did a ah, which I got that reaction at LT when I slipped on the top rope and landed on my chest near my entrance. Yeah, yeah. So Frankie got the ah from the Lucha crowd. Next week, Galley again. This time at the Ramada Inn. This is another thing cool about Galley is you can hit up all these different venues. So Storyteller scores the win. It was me, Storyteller, Jack Valor, Eddie Grayson, Chucky Bates, and Jack Johnson. And Storyteller got the win on that. I wrestled Mateo. This was the Wooddale. This is where I came out through the crowd. So fun story, or maybe not so fun, especially with today's climate. So I am incognito. So I'm sitting in the crowd from the match before and into our match. hooded, big snow jacket, covered up face, sitting there. I see these girls getting up and down. Keep moving. Don't think anything of it. My cat's chiming in. So, go to, fast forward. It was one of my friends. She texted me, goes, hey, are you sitting by us? And then I was like, yeah, that was me. So, she goes, okay, I figured, because I saw the wrist tape. It goes, that's a wrestler. And I think that's Greg. So, those girls that kept getting up went to security and was like, there's a guy here. And he looks... Pretty much they thought I was a terrorist. I was not a terrorist. I was just a wrestler. And then they saw me get up, throw the shit off, and they clicked. They're like, oh, okay, it's Moondog. So yeah, it was funny. Scared the shit out of them. Came back to Second Wrestling. Took on ATM, Aries Creed, and Jackson Larkin in a 4-way. Creed got the win there. This was the match I remember. With Project Max, which I think they changed their name by this point because Max Morrison turned on them. So UWE, or I think they turned on Max. Anyway, so UWE, it was Kazile and Scott defending against me and Trog and IPA in a 3-way. So there was a part in the match where I was supposed to do my comeback on, I think it was Scott. So there was a hot tag, and I'm reaching for the tag, and Scott's going to Kazile, so I'm thinking, okay, he's going to stop himself and not tag out. But he was like fingertips away, so I'm looking at me and Kazile lock eyes. I'm like, here we go, and I just gave him my comeback, and he says, dude, thank God I remembered it. That would have been a disaster. But that was funny. We saved it, though. So, it's all that matters. That was funny. It was like, when you just lock eyes. It ended in a no contest because they walked out or whatever. I remember thinking of like, okay, yeah. There's the Make-A-Wish Royal, which I did that last year, too. Got to check on Storyteller and Eddie Grayson and West Dundee for Galley. I remember Eddie does a dive, and I'm right here, Eldridge right here, and we hear splat. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, is he okay? And then he gets up. I'm like, okay. And then I remembered when I took the concrete bump, I felt it more in my knees. So I'm like, I think he's okay. So it gets turned up, and I ask, what was the noise? He goes, it was my feet hitting the ground. I'm like, okay, because it sounded like a splat. Like, Jesus Christ. CSW, it's myself and Joey and Marche Rocket taking on the Brass. Schultz, Ryan Matthews, Jax Johnson. And I want to say this is where we did the hand-breaking angle. So, they broke my hand. I think it was in January, actually. We did a segment. So, the internet being the internet, we see everything now. And I wanted the story to be real. So, I wore a brace for 3 months. Everywhere. The only place I didn't wear this brace was at work, and when I was at home, and if I was streaming, I was wearing the brace. You can look at the Shellshock Network YouTube channels and see those old videos from beginning of 24. I'm wearing the brace. So I was committed. I wore that brace everywhere. I wore it to every indie I wrestled. I was wearing it. And so just did what just was selling it, because I figure let that smart fan go, oh, he must have needed a reason, or like maybe he has a legit like wrist injury, but he could still, maybe he has like a legit injury and he just needed a reason to wear it or something like that. I wanted them to think that. And then we go from there. So I believe this is my last Damage match. It was me and Joey Mayberry. No. Yes. Took on POWW and Tom Heisman. Youth Gone Wild. Tom Heisman hits like a truck. POW's light as a feather. Thank God. So, So it worked out. That's actually my 200th match in Rockford, and that's with Joey. Because it started. There was a mini match with me and POWW, and then it turned into a tag match. So there was 2 matches there. So match 200. We finally made it. And anybody that listened this far or watched this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I had a lot of fun doing this. I definitely we're closing in on 300, so you'll probably get an episode sooner rather than later. Thank you to everybody that was on my journey. Thank you to my trainers and my mentors. Trainers, of course, Steve Boz, Axel Rico, Jason Hades, and then currently it is Shogun, Shaq Jordan, and Chris Dixon. And then thank you to mentors like Inestra, Vic Capri, Terry Allen, Scott Spade, Jimmy Blaze, Eric Freedom. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm so sorry if I am, but thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who support me. Thank you to all the fans, friends, other wrestlers. Thank you. And I cannot wait for 2025. I am excited. Got a lot of cool stuff planned. I got Texas, got North Carolina. Shooting my resume around, and I've been getting a lot more responses. Most of them no's, but responses that I wasn't getting before. So I think I think 2025 is going to be very cool. So let's rock and roll.